Good morning, good afternoon, good day, whatever time it is, good life. All right. So today we are on the last page of our note packet. We're on N1-12. Make sure you pull it out. And also keep in mind, because we're finishing these notes up, guess what's coming up? A test, a unit TEST. We're going to have a test probably at the end of this week on Friday. So just keep that in mind. So today we're going to solve multi-step inequalities. What's nice about this is we've kind of already done this. We've done inequalities. We've done multi-step equations. So now we're just going to bring the two together. We just want to keep in mind, this is super important right here, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip the little inequality symbol. So the little arrow, you're going to flip it. All right, so let's just jump right in. So what we'll be doing today is solving equations, just like if there were an equal sign, but you, instead of bringing down an equal sign, what you're going to bring down is whatever inequality symbol you're given. So this is a greater than or equal to. All right, so to solve these, you're just going to work left to right, and you're going to use your steps to solve. So the first thing that we're going to look for is distribution. I see this -3, and I see a parenthesis behind it, so that means I have to distribute it. First, I'm going to bring down my x, and then I'm going to distribute my -3. So I'm going to multiply -3 times x, and we get -3x, or -3x. Then you're going to multiply -3 times a +2, and you get -6. Bring down your greater than sign, bring down your 4. Okay, now before we can start moving from one side of the inequality to the other, we have to go ahead and combine our like terms on either the left side or the right side. So the right side looks combined already. We just have that number, so that's nice. So we're going to go ahead and combine on the left side. I'm going to cover up my right side. So I'm going to combine x and -3x. Remember, when you're combining, you're always adding. So an x, remember, has that indivisible implied coefficient of 1. So I'm going to take a +1 plus a -3, and you get -2. So I'm going to bring down a -2x. Okay, there's nothing to combine with this -6, so we're just going to drop it down. All right, is greater than 4. Okay, so now I'm going to solve. I have 2 terms over here. I only have 1 over here, so we're good. So I'm trying to get the x by itself. So I want to get rid of a +6, so I'm going to say, I want to get rid of this, so I'm going to x plus 6, -2x. 6 is canceled, is greater than 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, now it's time to get rid of the coefficient, the number in front of the variable. And our coefficient is -2. So what we have to do with that, remember, you cannot just add that over. This is -2 times x, so we have to do the opposite of multiply, which is to divide. We're going to divide by a -2. And at this point, do you see how we're dividing by this negative number? Well, this, because of dividing by the negative number, we're going to take this greater than sign and we're going to flip it and we're going to make it less. Okay, -2 cancels out. We're left with x, and then 10 divided by -2 is going to give me a -5. So x is less than -5. And do not forget to flip that inequality symbol anytime you multiply or divide by a negative. All right, let's look at the next problem. Again, you want to work your problem left to right, looking for distribution first. Remember, your steps are distribute, combine like terms, and then you can start solving, which means to move stuff from left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and drop down my 7x, because I'm working left to right, drop it down, and then we're going to distribute this -2. So -2 times x is -2x, -2 times -4, a negative times a negative. Now, if you can't remember those, go ahead and put it in your calculator. -2 times -4 gives you a +8. So instead of writing -8, you would write +8 is less than or equal to -2. So now we want to check to combine like terms. On the right side, I only have -2, so that's already combined. Let's look on the left. On the left side, it looks like I need to combine some like terms. So I have this +7x and this -2x. Remember, when you're combining, you're always adding. So 7 plus -2, you get a +5x. So 5x plus 8 is less than or equal to -2. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to get the x by itself still. So we need to get rid of this +8, and we got to get rid of the 5 in front of the x. We can't get rid of the 5 yet because it's attached to that x. So we will say -8, because we have to do the opposite of +8, which is to subtract 8, minus 8. Now, people, be really careful here. A lot of you are kind of getting a little bit confused on how to put this in the calculator. You just put negative 2 minus 8. You don't want to put negative 2 minus a negative 8 because that's not what you're doing. You're subtracting 8 from negative 2, and you get negative 10. Okay, those 8's cancel out, and I'm bringing down less than or equal to, and I'm going to bring down my 5x. Now we want to get rid of the number in front of the x, which is 5 times x, so we have to do the opposite of multiply, which would be to divide. We're going to divide by 5, and you're going to get x is greater than or equal to negative 10 divided by 5 is going to give you a negative 2. Notice how I did not flip that inequality symbol because I divided by a positive number, not by a negative number. All right, looking at number 3. Now, the funny part about some of these is when there's not distribution or combining like terms, people think it's harder. But really, it's simpler. You get to just start by moving your variable to one side. So this one has an x on each side. So what we want to do is we want to move the variable either to the left side or to the right side, okay? And you can move the smallest variable. When I'm dealing with inequalities, I always try to move my variable to the left. That way my variable always ends up on the correct side of the inequality, and I can read it, and it'll match my answer choices when we're doing a multiple choice test. So instead of moving this 2 from here to here, I'm going to move the 5. Okay, and I'm going to move the 5 over to the left. This is a positive 5x. I'm not trying to get rid of the 5 in front of the x. I want to move the whole term and get it over to the left side. So what I would do with a positive 5x is go ahead and subtract 5x. So minus 5x. Minus 5x, okay? Then you're going to go ahead and do the math on that. So 2 minus 5, let's put that in our calculator and see what we get. 2 minus 5, we get negative 3. So that's going to be a negative 3x. Okay, bring down your minus 1. Bring down your less than or equal to. These 5x's cancel out, and we bring down our 20. Okay, now we have the variable to one side, so we can go ahead and solve this problem. We want to get rid of the minus 1 first. So to get rid of a minus 1, you add 1. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side as well. Okay, so you're going to bring down your negative 3x. Your 1's are going to cancel. Bring down your less than or equal to 20 plus 1. Well, that's 21. Okay, well now it's time to get rid of the number in front of the variable. So this is where we're going to have to go ahead and divide by whatever number is there. We're going to divide by a negative 3. So when we do this division by negative 3, we really got to pay attention to our inequality sign flip. Because we're dividing by a negative number, you're going to go ahead and flip this from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. All right, these 3's are going to cancel. You're going to have x on the left side. And in your calculator, you can do 21 divided by negative 3, and you get negative 7. And this would be our answer right here. Remember, make sure if you have any questions as I'm going through this that you pause your video and raise your hand and ask. We're more than happy to help you on these. And if it's going too fast for you, you can also pause your video and catch up at any point you need to. All right, one more problem and then we'll be done with notes for today, and then you'll have an assignment. All right, so number 4, now this one has all the steps. It has distribution. If you notice, I see parentheses on both sides of my sign. So we're going to take it nice and slow. We're going to work our problem from the left to the right. All right, so the first thing I see is 5x. 5x doesn't have parentheses behind it, so I'm just going to drop it down. Drop down your 5x. All right, and now we're going to distribute a negative 3. So negative 3 times x is minus 3x. And then you're going to do negative 3 times a positive 6. All right, if you need to put that in your calculator, I would do so. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. Okay, so that will be minus 18. Awesome. We've got to our inequality symbol, so we'll drop it down. Greater than or equal to. This 8 does not have parentheses directly touching it. If the parentheses are not touching it, go ahead and drop it down. So after the 8, we have a minus, all right? And remember, this minus has an implied 1. So what we'll be distributing is a negative 1. We're going to take negative 1 and multiply it times x, and we get minus 1x. Then you're going to take a -1 and multiply it times a -7, making sure you pay really close attention to these negatives, showing that these two numbers are negative numbers. So -1 times -7 gives you a +7. So this would be +7. All right, now we want to combine our like terms. So I'm going to cover up one side. That way we make sure we don't accidentally start moving stuff from side to side. We have to get two terms over here and two terms over here. So what I want to do is combine my +5x and my -3x. When you add 5 plus -3, you get 2x. And then you're going to bring down your -18. Okay, I have two terms. I'm good to go ahead and move on to the other side, bringing down my greater than or equal to. All right, and now we want to combine like terms over here. First, I'm going to go ahead and underline my x. So -1x, I don't have any other x's over here to combine with it, so I'm just going to drop it down. -1x. Then I have this +8 and this +7 that I'm going to combine just by adding. 8 plus 7 is +15. All right. Now remember, here you always want to try and move your variable first. So like I said before, I always try to move the one from the right to the left. So this is a -1x. I have to do opposite of that to move it over here. So we're going to say +1x, +1x. All right, and what we get is a 3x minus 18 is greater than or equal to +15. All right, at this point, we could go ahead and get our constant term, or just a number. So we want to get rid of this -18. So we'll say +18, +18. All right, so we get 3x. These 18s cancel. Is greater than or equal to 15 plus 18. That's 33. All right, and then we're going to divide by 3. Noticing that we're not flipping the sign because we're dividing by a +3. So these 3's cancel, and we're left with x is greater than or equal to 33 divided by 3 is 11. All right, and that's it for your notes today. Make sure that you're doing the assignment that goes with it. Very good job, and make sure that you're starting to study for our test that is coming up.